Once upon a time, the Israelites were under the cruel domination of their enemies, the Philistines, for a period of 40 long years. During this difficult time, God chose a man named Samson to start rescuing Israel from the clutches of the Philistines. But there was a problem. You see, Samson was a judge, which in the Bible means that he was a military leader set apart to deliver God's people from their enemies. The thing was that Samson's strength wasn't normal. In fact, it was extraordinary and even miraculous. And although God gave him superhuman powers to fight Israel's enemies, Samson also had a fatal flaw that would eventually lead to his demise. In today's video, we are going to discover who was Samson and what made him such a powerful judge who fought valiantly to defend God's people. So sit tight and join us as we uncover the fascinating story of Samson and Delilah. Part 1: Samson's birth and strength. Samson was born during a time when Israel was dominated by the Philistines. For 40 years, they suffered under the oppressive rule of their oppressors. It was a dark time for God's people, and they cried out to him for deliverance. In response, God raised up Samson as a judge to save Israel from their enemies. But Samson's birth was no ordinary event. In fact, it was a miracle. You see, Samson's mother, Manoah's wife, had been barren for many years and couldn't have children. But one day, an angel of the Lord appeared to her and delivered a message from God. The angel told her that she would conceive and give birth to a son who would be a Nazirite set apart for God. This meant that Samson's life was dedicated to God from the moment he was born. And he would never touch alcohol, unclean things, or cut his hair. Instead, his hair would serve as a symbol of his dedication to God, and his strength would come from God alone. As Samson grew older, God's Spirit gave him supernatural strength, and he used his power to kill a lion that attacked him in the forest with nothing but his bare hands. After killing the lion, he returned home and married a woman from Timnath. On his wedding night, Samson noticed that a swarm of bees had entered the carcass of the lion he had slain and produced honey. Samson shared this honey with his parents, who realized that their son was blessed by God. One day, 30 men from the tribe of Benjamin challenged Samson to see if he could defeat all of them in hand-to-hand combat. Despite being outnumbered, Samson won. He used the jawbone of a donkey to slay 1,000 Philistine soldiers. Samson continued to deliver Israel from the Philistines for 20 years, proving to be a valiant warrior and judge. However, despite his strength and courage, Samson had a weakness. Women, especially Philistine women, played a significant role in the downfall of the judge. Part 2: Samson meets Delilah. Samson had a soft spot for women, and he often fell for their beauty. However, trouble started when he met a woman named Delilah. You see, Delilah didn't live in Israel. No, she resided in the Valley of Sorek, far away in the land of the Philistines. And Delilah wasn't just any ordinary woman. In fact, she was a temptress who worked for the Philistine rulers. You see, the leaders of the Philistines had enough of Samson's heroics. They were tired of him defeating their soldiers and humiliating their nation. So they went to Delilah and offered her 1,100 pieces of silver to find out the secret of Samson's strength and how to subdue him. Delilah accepted the offer and hatched a plan to betray Samson. She waited until Samson came to visit her and pretended to be unaware of his extraordinary abilities. Delilah wanted to know how Samson could be subdued and who would win in a fight between them. Little did she know that Samson would inadvertently reveal his greatest weakness, leading to his ultimate demise. Part 3: Delilah's deception. Delilah decided to test Samson's strength by asking him to do certain tasks that she believed would weaken him. She started by telling him, "Please tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued." Samson replied, "If you tie me up with 7 fresh bowstrings, I will become weak." So Delilah did as he instructed and tied him with 7 bowstrings. But when she signaled for the Philistines hiding in the next room to attack him, Samson easily snapped the bowstrings and dealt with the Philistines. Undeterred, Samson then told her that if he were tied with new ropes, he would become weak. So she tied him with ropes. But once again, he broke free. Frustrated, Samson finally revealed that he would become vulnerable if his 7 braids of hair were woven into the fabric of a loom. Intrigued, Delilah wove the braids into the loom. But as she did so, Samson pulled everything out, destroying the fabric. Realizing that she had been tricked, Delilah became angry and refused to believe that Samson had revealed his secret. Finally, after much persuasion, Samson admitted that his secret lay in his uncut hair, explaining that if it were cut, his strength would vanish and he would become like any other man. Delilah realized that she had found the secret to Samson's strength and wasted no time in informing the Philistine rulers. Part 4. Samson's Downfall. Having learned the secret of Samson's strength, Delilah wasted no time in informing the Philistine rulers. Eager to claim her prize, she lured Samson back to her home, where the Philistines were eagerly waiting for him. Samson, unsuspecting of the danger that lay ahead, walked into Delilah's trap. As Samson slept on Delilah's lap, she called for a man to shave off the 7 locks of his hair. With Samson's power now gone, the Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and took him to Gaza. There they bound him in bronze shackles and forced him to work grinding grain in prison. Despite his capture, Samson's hair began to grow back. However, the Philistines remained unaware of this development. Part 5. Samson judges Israel. Meanwhile, the Philistine rulers planned a grand celebration in the temple of their god, Dagon, to honor their victory over Samson. They invited nobles and rulers from neighboring nations to join them in mocking the defeated judge. On the day of the festival, the Philistines led Samson into the temple as a spectacle for the crowd's amusement. Samson, though blind and weak, had a glimmer of hope when he felt his hair growing back. With renewed determination, he asked the servant who guided him to place his hands on the 2 central pillars that supported the temple. As the crowd roared with laughter at his expense, Samson prayed to God, saying, "O sovereign Lord, remember me. Please strengthen me just once more so that with one blow I may get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." In response to his prayer, Samson felt a surge of strength course through his veins. With all his might, he pushed against the pillars. The temple collapsed, killing more Philistines in his death than he had in his life. And so Samson died among the Philistines, his body buried in his father's tomb. Meaning of the story. The story of Samson teaches us several important lessons. First, we learn that Samson was chosen and blessed by God with great strength. Despite his flaws, God used him to accomplish his mission and deliver Israel from their enemies. Second, Samson's weakness for sin and temptation, especially through Delilah, ultimately led to his downfall. We must learn to resist temptation and not let our weaknesses control us. Third, even when Samson failed and made mistakes, God still used him to fulfill his purpose. This reminds us that God is merciful and can use anyone, despite their flaws, to accomplish his will. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about Samson's story? What lessons have you learned from it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. May God bless you, and until next time.